what is keeping you most stuck? How can you start to untangle it? Do you need help from someone like Liz or myself to do that, right? Like, don't stay tangled up in that. It is so detrimental to yourself and everyone around you. Yeah. And I don't want that for you. Don't be afraid to look at it and have those hard conversations, because we can do hard things.
That was Jen Vertanen of the Going There podcast, and this is episode 31. Welcome to the Midlife Schmidlife podcast, a show that celebrates women over the age of 40 who want to live a kick-ass life. I'm your host, Liz Applegate, and I'll be bringing you inspiring conversations and practical advice with a little bit of humor and random 80s references mixed in. Join me as we redefine these middle years to start living with newfound joy and purpose while turning our maybe someday dreams into today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Midlife Schmidlife podcast. I'm here today with my guest, Jen Vertanen. Jen is a fellow podcaster, and I love having my fellow podcasters on. And she has a podcast called Going There, and where there are real conversations about pain and loss and fears, but she also talks about healing and what she calls the silver linings of these moments. And before I go any further, I'm going to just have her introduce herself. So Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here.
Me too. And so we chatted a little bit beforehand, and I feel like we could just continue and chat and chat and chat. So I'm glad that we finally decided to record and share our chats. So before we go any further, would you mind taking a minute telling us who you are and what you do in the world?
Yeah, so I actually have two jobs that I do. One is my day job. I'm an agile coach for software development teams, and I absolutely love it because it helps inform my night job. That sounds a little risque. My after hours job. But no, really the work that I'm moving into is what I like to call an emotional sidekick. And it's really, I don't know if it's a coach. I'm certainly not a therapist. I am not healing people, but I'm really good sitting in the uncomfortable with people and just helping untangle that emotional mess, that emotional baggage that they've been carrying with them for so long, right? And they've kind of reached this point where they're done with it, right? They just they're tired of feeling lonely. They're tired of isolating. They're tired of wearing the masks and the facades all day long. And they're just ready to start to feel a little bit better. So I help untangle that and give actions for moving forward. And I podcast. I love it.
Yeah. Podcasting is fun.
Yeah, it totally is. You get to meet super cool people like you.
Oh, you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, hey, you get to meet such cool people and just have guests on that, and have conversations that you normally wouldn't have. And I love that. And your show is amazing, by the way. So
thank you.
I'm going to be sure and have the links in the show notes for this because seriously, there are just conversations there that are just so moving, and you are a beautiful interviewer, and you can just tell that people are at ease sharing these stories that they normally wouldn't talk about.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. That's really what I try to do is have it feel like you're a fly on the wall. And I love having those harder conversations. Not everyone does. And so I thought, why not? Right. Why not, do it and show that it doesn't have to be so hard and difficult. And, I don't think my show is binge worthy. I think that it's, you need to take it in its own sweet time because of the hard topics, but that's okay. I knew that going in. And I love Midlife Schmidlife because I am smack dab in the middle of it. And you're the beautiful host as well.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Wow, this is just like a podcast dream. Yeah, so you're right in the middle of midlife. Tell me about that. Like, what is that for you?
I'm actually loving midlife. I never thought I would. I remember turning 40 and I felt the best I had ever felt. I was starting to unpack my own emotional baggage I'd been, carrying for years. I was in really great physical shape. My hair was going gray and silver and I loved it. And I felt so good. And I remember I left my job. So that was 2010. I turned 40. Left my job in 2011 in corporate America and went into one of the darkest depressions of my life and gained 60 pounds. And went back into corporate because we put our daughter in private school for various reasons. Anyway, there is a point to the story.
No, you're good.
Years later, it's been this untangling of all this emotional baggage I've been carrying, all the while loving the wisdom and maturity and insights and all of that goes into this thing we call midlife, right? Mm-hmm. I don't mind some of the wrinkles. I don't mind the gray hair. I guess I'm just one that I'm looking forward to the aging, and that's cool. And that's not something that we hear a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of along for the ride. Right. And I think that's how I've approached a lot of my life, especially as I, untangled a lot of my baggage. Is just, I'm going to go along with the journey because I can't control it the way I think I want to. Right.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work out the way I think it should. And I get too mired down in the disappointment of that. And that was not good for my own emotional, mental wellness. So I decided to try a different approach and it works for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't look in the mirror and be like, oh, the crow's feet are a little crowier. Or I hang out with my 22-year-old and his friends and go from thinking I'm kind of cool to, oh my God, I'm
right.
old and do I matter anymore in this life? But those moments are few and far between.
Oh, shoot. I was hoping you were going to share some of that because I was thinking, oh, wow, I got to get my act together.
Oh my God.
Because Jen's on it.
No. I'll talk about having a big ego and stuff. And I tell you, I am humbled. I am brought to my knees quite a bit. Nope, not as cool as I thought.
Right. It is amazing. I don't, it's I know that I'm not 22 or 26.
Right.
I know this, but I think in my mind, I feel like sometimes my mind is just kind of stuck in that groove. I don't know. Yeah, I don't wake up and then walk around in my day and think, oh, I'm 52,
Right. I love to dance and jam out to music and, do all, I go whitewater rafting and, I want to be the 92-year-old that's jumping out of airplanes and, hopefully my body supports that and my mind and what have you. But then I'm with the 22-year-olds. I'm like, nope. They can go all night. I'm in bed by 10.
Exactly. And it's so funny because if I could, I would go all night too. That.
Right.
Yeah. And then I try and it's no, I'm not doing it. Or
the
recovery is awful.
Oh my God.
And it's so funny because I remember hearing people tell me that. I remember, being young and people would say that, oh, just wait till you get older. And I'm thinking, I'll never be like that. I'm going to be a partier till the day I die, that kind of attitude.
You learn your limits. I went to the doctor yesterday for 3 kind of embarrassing aging things. And I'm just thinking, when did this happen?
Exactly.
And the biggest indicator for me was the eyes, right? One day my eyes were fine. The next day I had to move the stuff all over the place, trying to find the right,
the right distance.
Yeah, the right distance, the right angle. And I'm okay, yesterday this was not true.
It does. It happens just like that too. I swear.
It does. It literally is one day.
Mm-hmm. I was 49 and then I turned 50. The next day I turned 50. And then the next day I was like, oh, holy crap. I need reading glasses.
Mine was more in my mid 40s. I'm 48 now.
Yeah.
But and it's, again, I'm loving getting older. And I know that's weird to say. And then I'll go past a store window and I'll look over. I'm like, who's that old? Oh, that's me.
Oh, the joys.
But I love that we can laugh about it, right? Because there's so much good in this stage of life.
Right.
Even with some of the,
Yeah. It's a package deal, you know, I mean, it's I love the wisdom, and I also love having the feeling of not needing to please everyone.
oh my gosh, yes.
So that to me has just been very freeing and very just kind of stepping into your own, you know, it is really like a stepping into your own and just being okay with that. Like,
yeah, I call it being a late bloomer. I'm a really, really late bloomer.
Yeah. I can so relate. I knew you and I could be friends. I knew it.
Yeah, but I'm like 48. It's finally starting to click into place for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just happy it started happening, you know?
Right. Right.
Floundering around in life never feels good.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And yeah, I really feel the same way. It's kind of like I started accepting like who I was, and I started exploring things that I always looked at as being kind of a hindrance, and instead I started looking at it as being a gift. And so it's just all these shifts started happening for me in it was my mid to late 40s.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that happens for some of us and not for others?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't either. I wish I did. I really did. I mean, you know, even with working with coaching clients, you know, I mean, you know, I think maybe self-awareness is that is probably a key, like starting to pay attention and realizing that you're not happy or you're not at a place that you thought you would be, and why is that?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that can be the start of things.
Yeah, that's good. I think that for some people too, self-awareness feels selfish, and so they keep themselves from it because they've been told all their lives not to be selfish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially as women and as moms.
Right.
You know, we are not used to even thinking that we're allowed to ask for what we want or make the time for what we want, or, you know, I mean, we're on the bottom of the list. And it's kind of a selfish, we feel like it can be selfish because there's so many other people we should be taking care of. And then I think once we get to this age, we kind of, you know, for one, if you're a mom, your kids are getting older, you don't need to be with them all the time. And now all of a sudden it's just kind of like, oh, whoa, wait, who am I through all of this?
Right.
You know? So.
Yeah. You know, I had a dream the other night that I had triplets at this age, and I was devastated.
Girl, that's a nightmare.
Off at the world. It was a nightmare. And I told my mother-in-law about it. She's like, that would be so amazing. I'm like, no, shut the front door. No. Nope.
Yeah. Nope. No.
It does make me wonder though, what was that dream about, right? What am I giving birth to triplets? What does that mean? I might need to look
that
into
sounds
that.
like a juicy topic.
If anyone listeing in has an idea,
right?
Maybe if you can reach out to Liz and I, that would be amazing. Yes, or please reach out to me.
I want to hear too.
Okay.
Please, if any dream interpreters out there, what that means. But yeah, I can definitely see it being like a giving birth to, you know, something
big.
Yeah, really big. Really big. So this podcast that you have with Going There, and like you said before, it really dives into these deep, heartfelt, soulful conversations. Why did you feel like that was something that needed to be shared?
Yeah, great question. You know, for so long I had suffered from chronic loneliness for lots of reasons, and isolation, and the masks, and the exhaustion of carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I started going to a few retreats to meet other females, because I literally from age 18 to my late 30s, I did not have female friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that was very bothersome to me. And so I started, getting into coaching and these online circles where you go to retreats. And so I started going, and I found that I was really good one-on-one with people, having these really deep, intense conversations, with literal strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like such a safe, comfortable place for me. And I've always been one that people will open up to. And that's been through the work I do with software development. I've kind of been the mama bear, protect my teams, and people come to me with, personal and business stuff. And I've just always been really good at sitting with that. And so through my own evolution, I kept saying, I want to have more and more of these conversations, but I don't know people to have them with, right? And it felt like everyone was creating a podcast, so I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be the Starbucks on every corner. And so I didn't for 2 or 3 years, and that was kind of stupid in hindsight. Because I love it. And, the podcasts that are meant to stay around will. And I just thought, what a great way for me, going back to very selfish reasons, that gives me a way to have these really interesting conversations in ways that feel really safe. And, I don't want to say validate the work and how I am, but it helps me. Maybe it is validation. I didn't get a lot of that growing up. And I'm trying not to judge the word validation that it came out of my mouth.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah.
But it's just, I think that these are the things that we need to be talking about. I want to make them so matter of fact that it doesn't hurt to talk about them as much, that we don't keep them closed inside, because I know firsthand experience how detrimental that was to my emotional and mental health, my marriage, my parenting. I mean, everything. It touches every piece of your being. And I was done with that, and I want to help others be done with that. Very self-serving and altruistic
at the same time. And yeah, it's funny. So like you said, self-serving, and I have a reaction to that word because I don't really necessarily see it that way. I see it as maybe what comes to mind is a gift that you have and you needed an outlet for that gift. And so these conversations are that. And so to me, I don't see that as self-serving. So
yeah, I think it's I was tired of feeling alone. This helps me feel less alone, and it helps others feel less alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does. It really does. They're beautiful conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so tell me about this chronic loneliness, because that kind of popped out at me. I was like, oh, I've never heard that before. I've never heard it described that way.
Oh, sure. There's lonely, like you're just kind of sitting around on a Saturday and don't have anything to do. And you're like, I don't know who I want to call, right? I'm kind of lonely. That's not what I consider chronic loneliness. And so for me, if I go back to childhood, and, we can get into the story if you want, or I can just kind of glaze over it. Well, so my dad is severely mentally ill, and that's something I'm untangling the mental illness from the abuse.
Yeah.
Because he was severely mentally ill and abusive, right? And as I work with more people, I want to be really careful. Mental illness does not equal abuse.
Exactly.
Okay? Right. But in my mind, it was. So keep that in mind as I'm talking. And a mom who was really checked out because she was in survivor mode. And I remember I was about 12, and I was told my dad would kill us if we left, because I would beg and beg my mom to leave. And she wouldn't. And even after knowing that, having that seed planted, I would still beg to leave. Like that was a better outcome than staying, right?
Right.
And that's really screwed up now that I say those words out loud as a 48-year-old. Like that was really fucked up thinking. But anyway, I never thought of myself as a victim per se. I was the one who would put myself in front of my younger brother and my mom. I was the one who would bait my dad to hit me because, it was never physical. It was never sexual. It was everything else but that.
Right.
But he, I was told the only way he'd be taken away is if he was a physical threat. Right. So I would bait him to hit me and he would come so close. Mm-hmm. So through the years, like that was my survival, right? Was putting myself at such a distance from others that no one could hurt me. Right. Mm-hmm. That was my survival. And I carried that through my first marriage and now my second marriage. I've carried that through my entire life. And I think there is a time for that, a time for protection. But when you reach a point where you maybe don't necessarily need that anymore, that's when it becomes detrimental. Mm-hmm. So I was in an incredibly safe and loving marriage. My children were amazing. And yet I hadn't done that work on the childhood stuff to really soften into letting someone else have my back, letting someone else in closer, being more vulnerable, not always having to be the super strong, competent. Right. So with that, through the years, my stories became, I don't like people, I don't need people, I'm fine being on my own, right? And so, and then in silence, I would suffer, right? And people at work, they got the outgoing, the extroverted, the fun. And I just remember them saying, like, we'd come back from a weekend, they'd be like, oh, you must have done some really awesome stuff. And I'd be like, no, I sat on my couch and didn't have anything to do, no one to do it with, and felt sorry for myself, right? So then you start getting this story that you're leading a double life, right? That people aren't seeing the real you, you're not showing it. So that adds to all those stories and the layers of stories and what have you. So that chronic loneliness was not knowing, so desperately wanting what I'd call like a nurturing mother energy, if you will, in my life. Yeah. To me, that equated to strong female friendships, wanting it, saying I didn't want it, not knowing how to get it, not knowing how to allow it to happen. Yeah. And so it was years, 20 plus years of feeling that way. And that does a number on a person.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how
heavy stuff.
Yeah. No, it is, but it's great.
I'm not alone in that. Like there's so many of us that go through that.
I'm actually, if we would have had the video on, you would have seen me like nodding my head. Yeah. Like I get this. Yeah. I really get this.
And I remember my husband saying like, like it's heartbreaking to watch you go through this. And and him saying, I don't know how to fix this for you, but it's heartbreaking. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. It is heartbreaking. It is. And so at what point was it that you just like, it was, was it like this one moment where it was like, okay, enough's enough? Or was it a gradual unraveling?
There were a couple of moments, and it goes back to about 3 years ago. One was I had come to the conclusion that I needed to divorce my husband, and we didn't. That's another long story, but I would tell people like, he's my best friend. I love him, but right. Maybe when we're 70, we can remarry. Maybe we can have houses next to each other and live separate, but together. I was finding all these ways.
Yeah.
Sounds so dumb in hindsight, but
but at the time,
it was not, right? And this was after years. And my husband is the most amazing, supportive person you could ever meet, like blah, blah, blah. So kind of at the same time, something was also happening with my parents. And that really, it was a kick in the gut when they came back together. They'd been apart, they came back together, and my mom sent an email saying, she wished that we could all be one big family again. And, she really apologized for spoiling my brother and I growing up. And she did it because of the tense relationship between she and my dad. And it was just this huge kick in the gut. I'm like, I was told my dad would kill us. Right. I watched my dad kill my pets. I watched him do blah, 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 right, through the years. And I'm like, how dare you sweep that under the rug, right?
Yeah.
And it was that moment, and I'm so grateful for this moment, in spite of how hard it was and still is, if you can hear that in my voice. But it really solidified in me that my mom will never be the person I need her to be.
Yeah.
And that is on me. That is on my expectations. She can't be that person, and shame on me for continuing to expect it, right? And I didn't feel deep shame, but it was just this realization that I truly, she didn't have my back.
Yeah.
And I needed to go find that for myself. Now, thankfully, pretty quickly, I was able to see that my husband all these years had my back, and I hadn't been allowing him to have my back. Mm-hmm. So that was like a big thing, was to be able to soften into allowing him to be one of my protectors and warriors. I wasn't alone protecting and being a warrior for myself. Mm-hmm. And it helped me see I don't have my mom the way I need her. I need mama energy. I need to go find it. And so I put a post on Facebook saying, I'm lonely. This is what lonely looks like. I can guarantee none of you would look at me and say, I suffer from heartbreaking loneliness, and I have for 20 plus years. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Don't stop going around thinking everyone else has, what you want. Mm-hmm. Because so many people will say, Jen, I want what you have. And I'm like, you don't, right?
Right.
The outside you might. The inside, fuck no. Right.
Yeah.
And I was done, right? And so 3 years later, and through a lot of healing from the parent stuff, finally, I found my very small group of girlfriends locally that we can be soft and vulnerable and hard and like all those things, and the tough love mama bear that I so desperately need. Maybe not everyone does, but I've needed it my whole life. So yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Put it on Facebook.
Right. Which is, it's so funny because, and I don't mean funny like, haha.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So when you were sharing about the podcast and, wanting to have these conversations, I was actually thinking how in this age of social media, I feel like we have less of those conversations because of the fact that we're constantly trying to put our best face forward, like our pretty shiny lives, our beautiful vacations, our beautiful, whatever it is, beautiful.
I have my favorite Instagram filters, not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. I do too. But what happens is we don't make those real connections. And so what I love is that you turned it around and you used this very public place, and you just put it out there.
Yeah. That's kind of I've always been the awkward, I'll go first because I hate silence. And like the church potluck, the one dish that no one's had, I'll be like, I'll take a piece just so it's, someone, so it's not alone.
Right. That's hilarious.
And I was just like, it was like a moment of bravery. And I'm like, I'm doing this. And, it's the messages that I got and the thank yous and, but it was most of it was in private because it's hard to say I'm lonely. It's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing. And I'm just like, there's not a lot that embarrasses me. I'll get embarrassed, but there's not a lot I do that I find embarrassing. So I was like, gosh, if I can do this and help someone else, and in the process help me, I'm doing it. Right. I'm tired of this. I'm done.
Yeah. And so it is, and I don't want to turn this conversation about me, but just so
please.
So that so my mom is mentally ill, and my dad had checked out, and they divorced when I was 10, 11, something like that. And so I can really relate to a lot of what you said, and probably more than you realize. And especially the not having the person be who you want them to be, and to be continually, for me, it was a continual disappointment and
Yeah.
trying to get up, or I'd get a little glimmer and then get some hope and then
Right.
just be like kicked in the gut. And then having all that stigma around mental illness and around,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just an interesting, like, I feel like you and I could just dish on that for probably longer than we should.
Well,
but,
you're going to be on my show and we can dish about that more.
That sounds great. And it sounds great having another conversation with you. It doesn't really,
I know, right?
It's going to be like, oh, yay. That's going to be maybe that's a red wine conversation that we should have.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing is, I know that this is way more common than people think, right? Mm-hmm. It is. And it's tragic that we can't talk about these things.
Right.
And we can. And I want to show, do my little part in showing we can talk about these hard things. It can be uncomfortable. It can be awkward. We can laugh because, you and I were laughing here through this. I have to laugh. I will die if I can't laugh.
Exactly.
And someone else might see that as inappropriate that I'm laughing right now. And that's okay, right? Like, my voice is not for them. That is okay. Hopefully they can find their own voices to listen to. Mm-hmm. But yeah. And I think that, going back to midlife, schmidlife, this is midlife for me. It's going back to what you were saying, that I care so much less about what others are going to think of me.
Right.
It's still there. Like, I think that's human.
Right.
But I'm like, screw this. I'm fixing myself.
Right.
And like you said, I have a gift for maybe helping others do it too. And my way is doing it out loud. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that actually was going to be an observation that I had, is that how this all came about, in your early 40s and about how, or mid 40s, mm-hmm. and how, it's kind of like a chicken or an egg kind of thing. Like, did this happen? Did this stuff happen? And you were the age that you were. And so that gave you the permission to do what you, did. Mm-hmm. Or was it, you're the age that you were? And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst. And so, you just never know, but I feel like it does come together, and you are in this space of not, and it like, I want to say that you don't care. I know that I still care, but I also, I care what other people think, but I also know that if they don't like me, or they don't like what I have to say, or whatever, it's kind of like, well, I'll get over it. I think that that's the thing. Like, you just know, oh, well, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm hurt. But I know I'll get over it. It's not.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to self-awareness and trust in yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it hurts, but I'll be okay. I'll work through this. Yeah. I'll learn something from it maybe, and I'll be okay.
Right. Yeah. And most of the time you do learn something from it.
Totally.
And I think when you're in that mindset of looking to what you can learn from it, then that helps it not hurt so much as well.
Right. And I love the no fucks given. It's like, save it for the right stuff, right? And for so many years, and I think this goes to wisdom and maturity, which ties into aging, is for so many years, it was giving it to things that maybe didn't matter as much, right? Mm-hmm. And that led to exhaustion and burnout and all those things. And so now I'm very careful with where I give. I'm very strategic and thoughtful with where I care, right?
Right. Strategic fucks
given. I just, I just don't have enough energy for all of it. And I'm not going back into where I was before, and trust me, it's still not easy. It still doesn't always come naturally to me, but I'm not going to go backwards. I'm not going to slip back into what I would not have wanted to be around me before. I wasn't that nice of a person. I had it in me, but I wasn't willing to show it. Right. Yeah. Because it was I was still keeping it too safe and tucked down inside. And, this badge of no one can hurt me, when in fact, almost everyone could have hurt me. And so I didn't give them a chance to.
Right. Yeah. It is such a, damn. It's, it just is amazing. I think not amazing that is not the right word, but just mind boggling. There's a better word. It's mind boggling to realize how we can still be playing out these relationships with our parents, right?
Yes.
Like, damn, it's just like, yeah. And how detrimental that is, and how, because I look at this is my second marriage, and, there have been times when it hasn't been easy. And I think that it's really easy for us as human beings to look at that other person and think, well, you're not doing this. This is, this is all your fault. But when you take a step back, and I know that when I've looked at just ways that I'm not letting him in, or ways I'm not relying on him, because that's kind of my go-to. Like, I don't want to rely on people because I know they're going to let me down. So then I need to take care of it all. And then I get resentful because I'm taking care of it all. Right.
You're like, I just want someone else to take care of it once.
Right. And then why can't you take care of it? And then he's like, well, why don't you let me take care of it? And then when I really look at that, it's like, well, I don't let you take care of it because I feel you're going to let me down. You're going to disappoint me.
Yeah.
Because that's the pattern that I grew up with. And so,
there's two things that have stuck with me through the ages. One is no one shows up wanting to do a bad job. And I had a manager say that to me once. I was mentoring someone else and just frustrated. And they're like, you know what? No one shows up wanting to do a bad job. What can you help uncover as to why this is,
right.
Right. And so that helped teach me perspective and empathy. Another, and I can't remember where this one came from, but if you're disappointed in someone else, that's an expectation you had, not an expectation they had on themselves. Right? And so that goes back to when my mom did that. It was just this realization of like, whoa. I've been expecting this and then disappointed. And she wasn't expecting it from herself. Shame on me. I turned it back on me because she's not going to change who she is. Shame on me for expecting her all these years to change. Right. So,
and that's kind of that immaturity of a relationship, I think. Like we're still carrying around this 13-year-old vision. It's kind of maybe not 13. That's not a good time for maybe 10, but it's just kind of like we're still expecting that relationship to be like we're 10 years old, and we're adults now, and at some point we have to take that relationship in an adult manner. And
I said, I really had to question, like, do I still want a relationship with my mom? And the answer was yes. And so then it was like, okay, well, now we need to kind of redefine what that looks like. Right. And then it became a little less hurt and just like, okay, let's see where this takes us. I'm going to stop expecting this. And that's been good. And I go back to my own kids. I'm like, what have I done? Because I know I've done things like, what will they look back in their 40s and 50s and be like, ugh, my mom, because we're human beings. And,
exactly.
It's like, I've tried to do better, but I know I've screwed up plenty of times. And who knows what the thing that will stick with them, right? With each one of them, and it'll probably be different.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, that's a whole other conversation right there.
Midlife is awesome because we get to think and be like, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Exactly. That's another podcast episode. Yeah. So growing up, I had what were called therapy moments. Like I would mess up royally and I look at them and just say, that's a therapy moment right there. And I'm really very sorry. And they'd be like, well, what's a therapy moment, Mom? And I'd be like, that's when you're going to be 40 years old talking to a therapist. And you're going to say, my mom did this when I was 11. And so that got to be like, it was like, oh shit, there's
another therapy moment.
Right. So yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, Jen, I am going to close this out with one final question, and that is, what does it mean to you to live a kick-ass midlife?
I think this whole conversation was it. But if I were to summarize it up,
yeah,
it would be more strategic and thoughtful with what you do care about. I think going back to expectations and disappointment, because those have been huge for me, is really evaluate where are you being disappointed and what are the expectations? And then have you communicated expectations in your relationships, right? Have you had an actual conversation, or are you just, expecting something? And that is so unfair to do that to another person when you haven't talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't be afraid. This is the biggest one. Don't be afraid to look at your stuff. Like you don't have to solve for everything, right? That goes back to the strategic. Like what is keeping you most stuck? How can you start to untangle it? Do you need help from someone like Liz or myself to do that, right? Like, don't stay tangled up in that. It is so detrimental to yourself and everyone around you. Yeah. And I don't want that for you. Don't be afraid to look at it and have those hard conversations, because we can do hard things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just beautiful.
Thank you. Took me a while to get here.
We're so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Well, Jen, I really admire you. I admire the work that you're doing. I admire your podcast. Everyone, you've got to go and listen. I will have the links in the show notes. And I feel like we could just talk on and on and on. And I really hope that we get to have many conversations in the future, Jen. And I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, I think we will. And I appreciate you, Liz. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if you like red wine, I feel like we could talk about it.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you're doing with the midlife stuff, because it's not easy for everyone, at all. Yeah. And so it's like, let's help to destigmatize what midlife can look like.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is something, we're getting ready to close out. And then I'm like, wait, we can keep going. And this is something that I love, is that you and I both found something to turn it on its head, right? Like yours is about these deep conversations that we all need to have, but aren't having. And my podcast is about looking at this stage of life and really not settling for what society norms are, and really turning it on its head, and just, this is our time, and let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, Liz.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you are a returning listener, thank you very much. If you are new to the show, I really appreciate you coming here and spending some time with me today. Be sure to head over to midlifeschmidlife.com/episode 31 to have all the show notes and the links to connect with Jen. Be sure and go and listen to her podcast, because it's amazing.